Hey guys, it is Sunday night. Happy Sunday! Today I want to talk to you a little bit about emotions because if you're anything like me, you're having a lot of trouble controlling them and you're having a lot of trouble understanding them and, at least in my case, getting past them. I want to say it was 4 or 5 days ago. I'm a hypochondriac anyway, so let me just start out by saying that I'm that person that the moment I feel anything weird, I can't just have a logical thought about it like, oh, maybe it's gas or oh, maybe I tweaked something. No, I have to go to the extreme and just assume that I'll be dead in 24 hours. So being a hypochondriac anyway is tough. Being a hypochondriac during a pandemic is unmanageable. It's really like a lot. So earlier in the week, I woke up, I had a little bit of a sore throat, I had a headache. I couldn't just say, it's probably allergies, or maybe my room was a little dry last night and I'm just feeling it. I just assumed I had coronavirus. So I immediately started texting 2 or 3 of my friends that are nurses. And the text messages I sent them looking back were pretty ridiculous. You know, I have this, what should I do? Oh my God, I can't breathe. I don't have a will. What will my kids do? Like really insane stuff. But in the moment, felt totally normal because in the moment, I was convinced that I had gotten this virus and I was going to be dead within the week. So here's what I know about emotions. I know that we have 2 kinds. We have primary emotions and we have secondary emotions. Primary emotions are emotions that are instinctual and universal, which means every single person on the planet experiences them to some degree. And those 4 are happiness, sadness, anger, and fear. And then we have this crazy other type of emotion that is not universal and differs from person to person. And those secondary emotions are emotions about our primary emotions. So the reason these are so insane is because primary emotions are meant to come and then they're meant to go. I describe them as lightning strikes. Like they're very powerful and they come on fast, but then they just disappear. And that's what's supposed to happen to us. That is what God intended. What God did not intend on were these secondary emotions that were going to linger much after these primary emotions had already disappeared. Because like I said, secondary emotions are feelings about our primary emotions. So a secondary emotion can be something like embarrassment or shame or guilt or joy, right? So my primary emotion that I experienced that day was fear. I was in it. It was overwhelming. I was definitely in my fight or flight response. And I wrote these ridiculous text messages. So when I went back and read them, I started getting these secondary emotions. And the secondary emotions were embarrassment and shame and guilt and all those things I mentioned, to the point that I then had to text those people again and apologize because I just felt so dumb and so embarrassed for reacting so incredibly, looking back, what felt like insane. So if you think about it, if you have 2, let's just say little boys that grow up right across the street from one another, and we've got Mike and we've got Bob. And Mike, when he cries as a little boy, his parents tell him, it's okay, buddy, get it all out. It'll make you feel better. When he gets done crying, he doesn't have a secondary emotion about it because his parents told him what you're doing is normal. And then we have his neighbor friend, and he's crying, and his parents say, suck it up, man up, boys don't cry. So even after that sadness leaves, now he's got to deal with all this crazy of feeling ashamed and embarrassed and guilty for crying in the first place. And those are the emotions that stick with us for a really long time. So what I want you to do tonight is I want you to think about what emotions are you having that are natural, that you're supposed to have, and what emotions are you bringing on yourself that's making this situation even more difficult than it has to be. If you want to have a moment of anger, have a moment of anger. Let it come and let it go. But then don't beat yourself up about it and have guilt or frustration afterwards about that anger, because then we're just making this process longer and more complicated than it has to be. If you have bouts of happiness, yes, that's awesome. Have a wonderful, happy day. But then don't turn around and feel bad or guilty about being happy because there's other people who aren't feeling that same way. Be happy and don't feel bad about it. If you want to be sad, be sad. And if you want to cry or lock yourself in the bathroom or distance yourself from your family for 10 minutes or 10 hours, don't feel ashamed because you feel like you should have been able to handle that emotion. So these emotions that we're having, we're in a storm, and let those emotions come in like lightning bolts, but then let them leave and then don't think about them again. Because the secondary emotions is where we can get stuck in the weeds and we can have these unnecessary feelings that we don't need to be having right now. So today, please spend your 22 minutes thinking about, what am I doing that's natural that I should be doing? And what am I doing to myself that's making this situation harder than it needs to be? Stay healthy, stay safe, stay home, and most importantly, stay positive.